Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Sullivan Smart Sense. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Thanks so much for being with us once again. It's great to see you. As you know, every Tuesday we meet here at this time with different topics in different ways to help you save money, help you stretch your dollars further. We're dealing with really high inflation still. It's gone even higher. We're at 8.5% now. So things just seem so out of control for so many people. So every Tuesday we meet here to find ways to help make things a little bit easier for you. And today, what we're going to talk about is making more money, right? That's one way to help with inflation. Let's help you make some more money because believe me, there are some jobs to be had out there. And I have one of my favorite guests that's going to join us in just a moment from Workforce Solutions. We're going to talk about who's hiring, incentives being offered. We're going to talk about great job training programs and jobs that are awaiting at the end of those programs. And if you're making a career change, like there's no better time than right now to make a career change with the great resignation that's gone on and so many job openings. So thanks for being with us. Let's dive right in. And please join me in welcoming Michelle Castro from Workforce Solutions. It's great to have you. It's great to see you back in your office.
Thank you, Heather. It's so good to be with you. It is great to be back in the office. It's great to be seeing people again. And, that means opportunity. And the job market in Houston is incredibly hot, just like the rest of the country. We are seeing employers who are hiring constantly. In fact, our most recent report shows that unemployment here in the Houston area is back down to 4.4%. And that's pretty darn amazing because 2 years ago, at the peak of the pandemic, we were over 14%. And so we're almost back to where we were pre-pandemic. We were at 3.8% heading into the pandemic. So being a 4.4% is a really strong sign that the job market is it's in really good shape and people have lots of great opportunities. So I appreciate you having us back here so that we can talk about what Workforce Solutions can do to help people land that new or better job and to find out where the opportunities lie.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to talk about this. And you sent me some notes, some great
Mhm.
notes about this that I've been looking at. And you were just mentioning we're at 4.4% unemployment in the Houston area, which is a slight notch above the Texas area. But that's
Yep.
because we're so centralized in oil and gas, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But let's kind of dive into the industries where you are seeing the biggest hiring right now.
Absolutely. So, in that March jobs report, the two big growth sectors were leisure and hospitality and construction. So, a couple things about this. One is leisure and hospitality is that area where we saw the biggest job loss at the beginning of the pandemic. And so, what happened is the workers in that area moved on to do other things. They transferred those skills. They found different jobs because they needed to work. And so they have found different opportunities, meaning that those employers need to fill in and replace all those employees that left. The other thing is that there was a lot of pent up demand for those things that we couldn't do during the pandemic because we needed to take care of ourselves, we needed to stay at home, all of that uncertainty that we were dealing with. So you're really seeing people get out and about again. And so there's a lot of pent up demand in that leisure and hospitality sector for workers. The other area is construction. Construction means more than just building houses. It also means all of those infrastructure projects. And so we've heard a lot about stimulus money for infrastructure projects, and that's going to keep going. And the good thing about that is those are good jobs. So once you train for those, whether it is in the skilled trades or whether you work on an engineering or architecture degree, that is the kind of investment that you really want to make because the job opportunities exist today, but they're going to be around for quite some time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, we're also seeing a lot of employers offering incentives to
Mhm.
get people to take on these jobs. And so, talk to me. You don't have to go into every company, obviously, but
Mhm.
but just characterize for me the kinds of incentives that are being offered out there.
So a couple of things, particularly in that leisure and hospitality sector where you have a lot of hourly workers, we are seeing increases in those hourly wages. So that's a really good thing because it allows people to to earn more from doing those really essential jobs. And so we want those goods, we want those services, we want those conveniences, and the people that are working get to earn livable wages. When we're looking at higher level positions, things like nurses, things like the demand for all of the office workers that are returning, any of those professional jobs, and this is particularly strong. You see it, the biggest bonuses are for registered nurses because, again, it's a market, it's supply and demand. There's a great demand for them. There's not quite as much of a supply. So you see a lot of sign-on and retention bonuses. I've seen some that are as much as $10,000 for nurses. So pretty incredible. Even positions that are in the healthcare sector that are not necessarily registered nurses, things that you can train for in a shorter amount of time, such as radiation technologists. I've seen $2,000 and $3,000 bonuses for signing on with them. The other thing is you see referral bonuses. So if you're in a job right now where there is high demand, check with your HR people because there might be an opportunity for you to get one of those referral bonuses for referring somebody that gets hired because, again, endorsement is a great way to know that you're going to get a good worker. And then finally, one of the things that we see a lot for the corporate employers is some more flexibility. People learned that not only can they work from home, but they like working from home. It gives them the ability to do other things. It alleviates those long 2-hour commutes that some people have driving into the central business district from those far out suburbs. So things like work from home and flex schedules. You know, maybe maybe companies are doing something like what I am able to do, and that is I'm able to work remotely, work from home, but I'm also able to come into the office and have that quality time with my coworkers, so we can have that face to face. So, in my opinion, that's the best of both worlds, and so you see more employers with their office employees doing things like work from home options and some flex scheduling options.
Let's talk a little bit about for anybody who is maybe looking to make a career change. I mean, really,
Mhm.
there's never been a better time to think about doing something different with so many opportunities right
Mhm.
now. Talk to me a little bit about some of the resources that you guys offer that can help people with that, and your advice for folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Workforce Solutions, we are the public workforce system in the Houston Galveston region. And that means that, like the public school system or like the public library, all of our resources are free, meaning you don't pay for any of this. And we are workforce experts. We're the jobs people. We work with employers all day, every day to help fill their open positions. So we have that inside scoop on what they're looking for. So our staff are experts in giving advice to help you land that newer, better job. We have 28 offices all across the Houston area, but even more importantly, like everybody else, we learned how to pivot during the pandemic. So we have what we call a viewer hotline, and you can reach the cream of the crop career advisors by calling 713-243-6692. And we set this up because, again, people want to access those services differently. They don't necessarily want to walk into a career office. And if you're looking for us, you can find us at wrksolutions.com. We can arrange for one-on-one remote interviews, everything that you need to land a new or better job. We can help you with the career advising. So if you think you want to change careers, we can help you identify where the good jobs are, what it takes to get into those jobs, and how you're going to navigate doing that, because oftentimes that might mean going back to school. And so how are you going to pay for that? Who offers that kind of training? So we can help you all with all of that. But specifically, if you are thinking about changing careers right now, one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is to think like the current Gen Zs, right? Right now, we have 4 or 5 different generations in the workplace. And so sometimes those of us that are a little bit older can learn from those that are a little bit younger. And one of the things that the Gen Z folks are doing is that they're really looking for satisfaction from life. Whereas some of us who are a little bit older, we went to work, everything was about building a building a career around a specific job. It's what do you want to be when you grow up? Whereas now, young people are thinking about what do they want to do when they grow up. And so working is just one little part of that. So really it's about identifying what interests you, what's going to make you give you that satisfaction, and it doesn't always have to be just the work itself. Sometimes it's what's outside of the work. And then you're going to set your priorities. Maybe what you really, really want is that flexibility, or on the flip side of it, you are willing to do whatever it takes to make that certain salary. So set those priorities. Then what you want to do is identify what companies, what kinds of jobs are going to give me those opportunities. And then you're going to pursue the jobs in those places. So again, it's not the way that I was trained, which is what do you want to do and then do everything it takes to get that. It's what do you want out of your career, setting those priorities and then pursuing that accordingly.
And I love that mindset, because it really is, you start with the dream. What would make you happy, and kind of, making that all come together so that you have all the elements of your life, in place.
It
I
is.
love
It's
that
really
concept.
it's really much more of an entrepreneurial spirit, right? It's what are all the possibilities that are going to get me to what I want out of this? And so it's not necessarily one linear path that everybody takes. It depends on what we each as individuals want and are willing to put into it in order to achieve that. And at whatever level, it's perfectly okay. That's the part that I love.
Yeah, I do too. Well, let's use that as a stepping off point to talk
Mhm,
about that different, not necessarily a linear path for everyone.
mhm.
Because let's talk about some job training programs that you guys have that are really great options for people. Not everybody is college bound, but there are
Mhm.
lots of great paying professions out there that people can get job training certificates and things like that. So let's talk about some of those options for people, and the
Mhm.
kinds of jobs that they can get.
Absolutely. So, one of the biggest pieces to remember here when we're talking about education and job training is that always invest in yourself. That's something that you can't do too much of, is really investing in yourself, because remember that you are the key to your own success. So always invest in yourself, and that can be formal or informal options. So things that are as simple as online learning. So online learning can be something as simple as what we coined YouTube University, meaning that there is some part of your job that has maybe developed and you want to learn how to do that so that you can move up. And so you go out and get that information, that education. Here at Workforce Solutions, we've done something that we call Workforce Compass. It's a new service that we put together, and Workforce Compass helps you navigate all of that online learning, because it can be overwhelming. You may not know where to start. And so with this Workforce Compass, it's kind of like a GPS for where you are, where you want to be, and the pathway to get there, all using online learning. So this Workforce Compass is an online assessment. You answer some questions. And the beauty of it is that with this, we can give you 1 year of free access to one of 3 different platforms. We have LinkedIn Learning, Metrics Learning, and 180 Skills. So again, all of these are great online resources that you never have to go into a classroom. Some of these are short term. It's just taking that one little course. Others, it's things like preparing for a particular exam. Sometimes when times get tough, we let some of those certifications lapse. And so maybe you need to sit for that test again in order to get that professional certification back so that you can move on in your career. So there's things like that. There are even certificates that you can get, certificates of completion that demonstrate that you have mastered that subject area, which will do you well in being able to present to that prospective employer that you in fact can do this. So again, all of that is in online learning, and Workforce Solutions can help you out with, again, giving you free access for 1 full year. The other thing that you want to think about is look to the nonprofits. There are a number of nonprofits in our area who are focused on workforce development. You have places like Sarah Jobs, and places like Wesley Community Center. So Sarah Jobs right now is offering a banking program. So this is specifically for young people to be able to start careers in banking. They get part-time jobs during the summer once they complete the training. And again, this is something that you can use when you're going on and pursuing additional education, or you never know, you may develop a career in banking. Then we have Wesley Community, for example, Wesley community centers there in kind of that Heights area. They focus on providing healthcare trainings. And so, for example, things like patient care technician, which it doesn't take a very long time to train for this, but it gives you an opportunity to get into a good career with a good, solid company where you have dependable wages, benefits, and then it can even pursue additional education. Another place that you want to think about if you are looking for training opportunities, we talked about construction and how much that is going to continue to be a growth sector. The Houston Gulf Coast Building and Construction Trades Council does what they call an apprenticeship readiness program. And what this means is that it's a 3-week program that introduces you to all of the skilled trades. You don't have to pay for this program. It is free. If you're admitted into the program, you do have to apply. But after those 3 weeks, you're able to apply for the apprenticeship programs with all of the different construction trades. And you basically got a leg up because you've shown that you have mastered the basics. They make sure that you are able to get the basic safety certificate. So you're really set up to get started on that. And then, of course, my favorite is the community colleges. And the reason that I say that they are my favorite is because it's such a great value. Community colleges are 2 different sectors that you should consider. One is the academic transfer section, and then the other is the workforce program. So the deal with the academic transfer, that's what you think of in terms of doing the 2-year programs that you're going to transfer over to a 4-year university. Great value because it is much less expensive than your 4-year universities, whether it's a public or a private school. And because they're in your community, oftentimes you can stay at home and stay with the family rather than having those additional living expenses. So great for academic transfers. And then for workforce programs. Workforce programs is really the secret sauce for community colleges. What I like about the workforce programs is that they're all meant to be 2 years or less, and they are always focused on a specific career. And all of these community college programs work with their local employers. So if you're in Galveston, you're going to be training for jobs that are in Galveston and right around that area. If you're up in Tomball, Lone Star College has programs that are catering to the employers right there in that area. So you can always be sure that with those workforce programs, there's jobs at the end of this. And at the end of the day, that's always what it's about, that when we go to school, we want to do better for ourselves. We want better incomes. We want better jobs. So again, lots of value from the community colleges.
Yeah, and such a wide variety of different kinds of things. And I love that there are just so many doors open. And I love the way that the community colleges work with the employers to really make sure that people are being trained for the jobs that are open and need to be filled. It's just such a great partnership. I love seeing that. Let's go back and talk a little bit more about industries that are hiring, because here in the Houston area, we're still seeing a little bit of a struggle in the oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
But you, in your notes to me, mentioned about mining and logging, that we're seeing some hiring there. So what's going on?
Yeah, so in the March jobs report, we saw that employers added 1,500 jobs in that mining and logging sector, and that's a really good sign. Our economists, the really smart guys who crunch all these numbers for me, are a little bit conservative, because the balance to that job growth with some job loss in the professional business and services sector. So they want to be really conservative, as most economists are. But the reason that in the Houston area, we still pay so much attention to that, is that we have a good number of jobs that are tied to oil and gas, and they're good paying jobs. So in the Houston area, just all across every job, the average of all occupations in the Houston area have an annual salary of about 55,000 per year. But when you look at oil and gas, traditionally those have always been higher paying jobs, and they kind of fall into three buckets. So first you have all of the engineering occupations. Again, these are going to be more education. You have generally a bachelor's degree, and oftentimes for the management and more technical positions, at least a master's degree. Sometimes you even have PhDs in that geoscience area. And those positions pay on average $178,000 a year. Then we move into the production occupations. So we see all the refineries down along the ship channel, and those refinery operators are earning, again, on average, $82,000 a year. So again, still higher than average. And then even going to the very beginning where the oil and gas is extracted from the earth, those extraction occupations for a drill operator, for example, is paying $65,000 a year. So there's a reason that we still pay attention to all of the oil and gas jobs. We love that we're moving into new energy. We love that all of these companies are expanding and finding new opportunities for new jobs in the future. But fact of the matter is that the petrochemicals are such a part of our everyday life. All of the plastics, all of the electronics that have those plastic casings and everything, it's so integrated into our lives. So even though we're going to have new energy and we love those new jobs, fact of the matter is that these mining and logging jobs are going to be with us for quite some time.
Question from a viewer. So let's switch gears just a little bit. She says, this is Gloria, and she says, are there any summer jobs for counselors at the Y? And let's talk maybe a little bit about summer jobs for kids getting out of school.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gloria, for that question, because at Workforce Solutions, we love summer jobs. We love summer jobs for a couple of reasons. One is that you learn how to work by working. And what I mean by that is it's the simple little things like showing up for work every day on time. I am an old Astroworld alum and still have great memories of those summer jobs. And so much of what I am able to do today is because of those back in those summer jobs. You know, if you don't show up for your shift, somebody's got to cover for you. And then even after 1 or 2 summers, you've got kids who are then developing management skills because they're going to be a lead, maybe for their small team, or even becoming a supervisor. But I say all that to say, yes, there are some great summer job opportunities. All you have to do is reach out to us at Workforce Solutions and we'll get you connected, because there are jobs all across the greater Houston area. Again, that leisure and hospitality always gives us lots of good job opportunities for young people. But the other thing is that there are companies that we work with who also have internships. So it's not just the high school students, but even the college students that we can help connect with those internships. And again, learning how to work, learning those money management skills, learning that responsibility, and really being able to demonstrate to your future employers, demonstrate even on your college applications, that you have the self-discipline, the self-management, really goes so much further than even just that first paycheck.
Awesome. You know, we've almost filled almost a half hour already, and I know you could fill hours with this stuff. But before we go, because I know one of the issues for a lot of particularly women getting back into the workforce after the pandemic was the issue of childcare. So I wanted to ask, are there still opportunities for financial assistance for childcare?
Absolutely. Workforce Solutions does offer financial assistance for childcare. Unfortunately, there is a long waiting list right now because coming out of the pandemic, we saw increased demand. As you can imagine, when people weren't working, they didn't need the childcare help. But as we're coming back and more people are re-entering the workforce and new people are entering the workforce to take advantage of these opportunities, we have much greater demand than we do have funds available. So I do encourage you to put yourself on that wait list. It could be in excess of 3 months. It's very important that everybody understands that there is a long wait list, but we are always hopeful that we will get more money available and be able to help more families. Because again, we want to help individuals go to work, because with each job that you work, you gain new skills, new experience, and can move up that career ladder. So yes, we do have a waiting list, but let me also mention that right now Fort Bend County reached out to us to let us know that they have some vouchers available. So if you're in Fort Bend County, check out coronavirusfortbend.gov, because there is some opportunities for families in the Fort Bend County area to get up to $1,500 to help offset the cost of childcare.
That's wonderful. Wonderful news. Great tip. I'm glad you shared that. Well, I'm going to let you catch your breath. And I want to thank you so much, Michelle, because you gave us, such an abundance of fantastic information about where the jobs are, incentives, all of these opportunities. And I hope people really, take this opportunity to assess, are you doing what you want to do? If not, now is a great time to look at other options and really let your life and your career kind of maybe take off in a new way. So thank you so much. I love conversations like this because they're so exciting. And I want to point out to people too, because Michelle and I have talked about the fact that there's so many great services at Workforce Solutions to help people, and people may not just know what's available. And I want to give just a quick narrative. I had been working on a story with a man who had lost his job at the beginning of the pandemic, like so many people did, and he needed help finding a new job. And I turned him over to Michelle, and I think within a week or two, you guys were finding him higher paying jobs than he had before, and they were closer to where he lived. And so that counseling service that you have is really so invaluable that, people shouldn't go the job search alone. There are great resources that may help you find things that you wouldn't even find on your own, maybe.
And all for free. Again, everything that we offer is for free. I like to say that we're the jobs people, because what we do is help employers fill those open jobs. So in those conversations, we really get to understand what it takes to land those jobs. And because oftentimes we see the job openings even before they hit to the job boards, we can give you the insight on that. And you never know, maybe we can do like we did for that gentleman. I remember he was a forklift operator, and we saved him about 45 minutes on his commute, and he went from earning like $14 an hour to about $18 an hour. So lots of great opportunities. And so again, Workforce Solutions is happy to be part of your career journey. Just reach out to us. It's all free.
Awesome. Well, Michelle Castro, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
You too. And thank you so much for being with us. We will be back here next week. We're actually going to talk again next week because I'm going to be out, but we're going to bring you more tips on saving money on gas. It was a hugely successful show, so we're going to share that with you again if you missed it. And then coming up after that, we're going to dive into groceries. We are going to save you a lot of money. I have a great expert coming up on how to save money on groceries. So stick with me here on Tuesdays. We will help you get through inflation, and we will help you move forward the best way that you can. And hopefully succeed and make your life grow in the ways that you want it to grow. So thanks so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time.